of love and on light. And we come today with much intensity for the messages and the questions that people are asking. We wish to answer from the collective in our purest divinity and from the purest place, if we had a heart, of what that heart would be. In this time of great exposure, we use this as an example of separation. So it is the separation of the three-dimensional reality from what you once knew, being distracted and disassembled from what you know it is. And you can see that as it's literally falling apart. And if that's not your experience, then you have chosen in this lifetime to be part of the 3D. If you feel that these exposures are triggers for you or an awakening for you, you have not only starseed qualities, you have chosen to come on a journey of ascension through the change of dimensional realities, the changes of the planets, for your greatest evolution. So we encourage you to look at exposure of governments, celebrities, systems, industry as an example of separating 3D to 4D to 5D. And what we mean, we are saying 5D as we understand these words is what relates to you. However, this is not the words we would use. We would use these words as timelines collapsing of the grid that fundamentally held the planet in a third dimensional or let's not use third, let's use linear timeline. For you to go beyond the linear timeline and understand that everything is happening all at the same time. There is no such thing as time, and it's not linear at all. It's multi-dimensional. Then it must crack the shell and it must fall apart for it to grow. And for you to be having this experience means that you are expanding. So we really want to encourage humans at this time to really embody and embrace the evolution of the self, the evolution of their own light body. For expansion is what's required. And expansion can only happen when you are in creation. And everything that's happening in the world around you and the exposure of the way that we've treated, or the way that humans have treated each other, knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or unintentionally, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what you do with this information now that it is in your reality and you are aware of it. We really encourage you not to dig deep into each storyline and try to unfold truths. For there is only one truth, and that truth is you are all connected. So there is aspects of you that on some level feel compelled or feel responsible or feel judged based on what's going on. That's why you feel close to these stories and want to be in the know. All this will do is keep you attached to that story. And when you're attached to that story, you're attached to the fragments of that 3D world collapsing. So disassociate those attachments. How do you do that? Let's say this is bringing up for you trust, or this is triggering for you justice, or inhumane treatment of each other, or hatred, or love, or judgment for the self. Whatever it's bringing up for you, is what you need to go within and start to work on in terms of releasing. And in that releasement, you disassociate your attachments to that story, your involvement in those stories, and you start to grow. And in creation, there is no room for judgment. There is no room for low self-esteem. There is no room for any of those attachments to the 3D timeline. So the exposure is happening for you and your greatest expansion, because it's exposing where you're stuck or where your energy is at. Because if it's bringing up judgment for you, for example, then who are you judging? What are you judging? Why are you judging? And if you can start to release those layers, you can only expand. And this has been happening, exposure has been happening since the 70s on your planet. And so now you don't have a choice but for exposure to be in your face. You have, the choice is already made for you. And if you're seeing this, then you've already chosen to be on a greater expanded timeline. And you know that you're more than flesh and this blood and this skin and your behaviors and your actions. And you know that you're a soul essence here for great expansion of yourself, the collective, and the planet. You know that there are laws that you can use to your advantage to live the greatest potential life as this version of you. So all of the other stuff is only there to show you where you're at. There is no more choice. The choice is already made. The planet has made her choice. She is moving on. She's growing, she's expanding. There's potentials for different timelines that suit the planet better. The planet is not dying. It's actually expanding and growing faster than ever. It's holding much more light than ever. The water that is surrounding and holding edges of the planet are the most coded with the most love and the most light and the most information that we've ever had before. So it's of the best interest of the planet and of the collective and actually of the universe for the planet to move into this newer timeline, newer frequency. And what cannot go into that frequency is energies, thoughts, patterns, behaviors of low vibrational density. So everything that's coming up that's on your social media and what celebrities are doing and the elections and war, all of these things, it can't come along. It has no place there. Therefore, it's in your face. And we just want to ensure and support you in your decision of coming along for the expansion, because getting stuck in the story, in the tabloid, will only keep you in that state. It will only keep you in that story. And that means you will miss the bus. Doesn't mean you will not expand ever. It just means that it'll get more uncomfortable and force you to have really no other choice but to look within and to expand. So we have a lot of people that are meditating and praying and having their own thoughts, and majority of the energy in the question is, then who do we trust? Or if everybody is in on this, then, who is left? Who's clean, quote unquote? And who can I rely on? Because I followed this person for many years, and now I've just realized that they've been trafficking people, and I don't agree with that. So, what does that make me if I've given my time, energy, and love to a person that is then doing this behavior? And that's kind of the vibe, if we talk in your terms, that's the vibe that's happening on the planet right now. And as a glass breaks, it shatters. And think of the information and exposure that's coming out as shattering pieces. Tiny, tiny little bits, but lots of it. But it was all a glass before. So it was all connected. You really will see the version of your truest self in the decisions that you make next. Because this is the most important growth for yourself. You can ascend 10 times, 10 timefold, or pace 2.0 just by the very next moves, thoughts, decisions you make now. Because with the 3D shattering glass falling apart all over the place, and then focusing on your own growth, you're assisting the collective and the planet in trajectory to move forward. So, no pressure, but it really is on you. And there is no right or wrong here. It is with the love in your heart, what do you do next? What do you do with this information? And how does that reflect in your life? And what do you do about that? That's it. And we know that it sounds very simple. And we can already hear the, but what about this? Or then what about this? And I can't accept this. And then what about this? That's the story. So take those moments of the story, and if you really feel compelled and attracted to read the details and to be involved and to voice an opinion, and if that's your highest joy, we would guide you to do so. However, if you can feel or identify that it's distraction, and it's just distraction, and it's just distraction from your own growth, then it's just distraction. A lot of the universal laws, the hierarchy in galaxies, all lead in their own ways, and they have their own traits, but it's still undeniably based in love and light. So anything else is distraction. And if you can do that exercise with yourself, am I being distracted right now? Or am I following my highest joy? That can really kind of change your vibration instantly to shift and to shift perspective. And we would encourage you to do that if you are going down the rabbit hole of what's coming out next and who's the next person and what's next. This is all part of the greatest picture or the greatest show. So showy things can be distracting, and your part in this is purely yourself. What do you do now with what's coming up and what's being triggered for you? And there are some people that are questioning themselves or questioning the people involved. And we would say, they want answers to their questions. And we would say that the answers don't matter, because you will never get the answer that you want to hear. You'll get your perspective or your version of what you want to hear. So if we can release the why now, why is this happening type of questions, we can really release attachment to any story, not just exposure, any story that's happening. And we would really encourage you to go in that direction. So when people come to you and say, have you heard this person? Now there's video footage of this and there's that. Your answer, instead of feeding that timeline and giving your energy over to something that is not going to assist you in your growth, Your answer can simply be, it's the 3D world crumbling down. I'm focused on my light. What am I creating? Because we need people in creation. The planet needs people in creation to move forward. And the more light and the more energy that's being fed to story will continue story. Do you think that we have answered that clearly? Do you think there's any?
No, I think it's very well put and very well understood. In the way that you just put it, it's what we see people getting caught in. So I think it does answer absolutely where people are. And we actually had a conversation with someone last night. Like, you don't need to dig any further. Is this enough? Have you seen enough to make your decision that you can create what you want to create? And we kind of cut it off there because we said actually the same thing to them, that you don't need to go down the rabbit hole
Yeah.
because it doesn't change. It's just more rabbit hole.
It brings up another um, it brings up another thought of, you don't really know these people anyway. Yet you believe the persona or the story that they've told you about who they are, right? But they've now been exposed for, these are the kind of people they've been all along. So there's some fundamental belief systems that, well, what do I believe? Because if I can't believe in energy because I don't see it, but then this is happening and I believed this person was who they said they were, then it's a lot more belief system shakeup than actually what the story is. Because those are the types of questions you will begin to ask yourself. And which coffee house do you go to? What businesses are you supporting? What clothes are you buying? Like, it's layer upon layer, and it's not going to all change right in this very moment now, unless that's your ascension plan. But those are the questions which will fundamentally change your life. Because if you stop going to that grocery market, if you stop buying that particular chicken brand, if you stop buying eggs, industries change. So your life will be different. If the way you shop, if the way you spend your money, if the way you're exchanging your energy, if where you're spending your time, what content you're consuming, when you're consuming it, your life will change. So it's more about knowing that you can't move on as the version of you as you are right now. That's the fundamental shift, as opposed to which person is being exposed or which industry is being exposed now. For now, it's the celebrity industry, okay? And then tomorrow it'll be the presidential industry and the royal industry, the royalty industry and the food industry and all of this kind of medicine. Like, it's all happening at the same trajectory. It's just, where is our energy going right now? It's what will come back.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's very clear. I feel like it's very clear, and when people sit with this and understand, like, it's not about the decision you made, it's what decision you want to make now. Knowing this, that's where life shifts and changes. And I think that you made that very clear. And that's the excitement to get people to, that I feel for myself and that we've been
So we
sharing.
will move on. So we also have a lot of questions about the galactic realms and why, even angelic realms, why angels don't show up, manifest, why aliens are not walking around, why are they not showing up. And we want to use this platform and what's happening now as our purest example. If we are supporting the planet and every human on Earth in their evolution and in their growth, because you are us, we are you. And unity consciousness feeds back to each other information. That's how the galaxy grows. And this is the way that people are treating each other on this planet. There is not enough love and light for love and light to show up, because it has to be a vibrational match. Hybrid children are ready, born ready, in training, ready to come. The planet and your human people are not ready to treat our hybrid children, which is the greatest technology since humans and humanity. Then it cannot match. We cannot drop hybrid children here. It's never going to happen. They would need 24-hour protection in which they know how to do for themselves, but it's not a vibrational match for them to be able to survive. And it's not a vibrational match when there is still 3D shell around the planet for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th dimensional beings to show up. It would not just shatter the 3D understanding, it would abolish it. And you think what's happening now is quite abrupt and not loving, right? So it's a great example for you to see why they are not present with you in the physical now. Doesn't mean that they're not here with you right now. Right now we are surrounded, but they will not show themselves because of how low vibrational and low density everything is. It cannot survive. It's not set up for creation and growth. It's not set up for that. So it cannot actually manifest when there's no vibrational alignment.
Yes, I completely get that, the way you just explained it. So it's basically, we can't have the high vibrational, let's call it extreme, while we're still playing in the low dimensional understandings. So we have to move, and that will allow for them to meet us while we move up, is basically what's saying. And so the reason why it hasn't happened is because we're still in the old storylines of the 3D. And so disconnecting and not digging in and choosing your next decision based on whatever information you have will allow for these hybrid children, the galactics, the angelics, the 12th, the 11, 12 higher dimensional being, to then connect with us, because we will be a vibrational match to them just as much as they will be a vibrational match to us.
Right. And as fast paced as humanity and the planet and the collective are moving in energetic pace, in holding more light, is amazing. It's the fastest and the most it's ever been. Yet, how many people are channeling and connecting? A handful, right? How many people are doing the work with all integrity? And we say that in honor and respect because it doesn't take a mass majority. It really doesn't. And 11th dimensional beings and the mantis beings, which are part of the hybridization, and they are protectors of the hybridization and humanity because they were part of the humanity project, show up to the energies that are already as high as them or on the same kind of field. And even in those moments, it's an hour, Your physicality is not there yet to be able to hold that level of energy, love, and light for a day or two, let alone 30 days, 12 months, whatever you call it. So think about that when you are creating. Think about that when you're doing your spiral. Think about that when you are lost in distraction. Where is my energy at? What vibration am I at? What kind of being could I attract in my conversation? And then that will really showcase where you're at. So we're saying this to just share that the earth has already made its decision. It's evolving. You can choose which dimensional reality you want to play in, but it's already moving. It's ready for 60, 70, 80. It's ready. It's going. The species that are coming through in the waters, in your plant species, in the bird species that you haven't seen before, it's because they can only manifest in 5D, 6D, and 7D reality. It's not a new species. It's just newly discovered because it was not manifest in a 3D reality. You can't hold such love. You can't hold such colors. You can't hold such vibration. So that will only be that will be your only example of the earth is moving forward because those species are being produced. The water quality is changing. If you looked at your water quality around World War One, everything's brown. Now you have crystal clear waters and new islands popping up. So earth is evolving. And if you can think about yourself as part of that evolvement, you are already on the trajectory of going that way. Beings and angels and ascended masters are always available, but are you holding the vibration high enough to be able to contact, to be able to have the conversation? Maybe in prayer time, maybe in meditation, maybe in astral travel when you have no awareness of who you are. And then you can start to connect. But they're not coming to save you. The beings and ascended masters and the gods and goddesses have been through all of this already. It's part of being human. It's part of being expanded. It's part of the expansion program, let's say, or your program. They're not coming to save the planet. It doesn't need saving. It's already saved itself. It's growing and changing. Nothing is coming to save humanity that's outside of you. So,
And I think
what is the savior energy? What is that? Is that distraction? Is that 11th dimensional vibration? If I say to you, what is the savior energy? What's the first kind of things you think about? It's a low vibrational energy. It's victimhood. It's ego. Whether it's, I don't need saving or I saved somebody. It's low vibrational things. And to feel the freedom in standing in your own energy, to know that you are the light and the love that you need, and you are surrounded by love and light in everywhere you go. You are never alone. To have that freedom and that beauty and that amount of love, survivee cannot come into that reality. It doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is co-creation. And in co-creation, there's no victim survivor. There's no good or bad. It's co-creation. And what are you co-creating with the universe? No, it's not one versus one. It never has been. And these are energies that are keeping you in your timeline, whether you know it or not. The whole storyline of someone will come back to save you, doesn't mean that someone physically is going to come back, because there's the future version of yourself. There is you in this present moment, and then there's you in the past, and then there's all of the versions of you in between those realities. So the only person that can really come back is yourself. Do you feel worthy of saving yourself? That's the only question saving or being a savior should come into. We know that this is new information, and you may need to listen to this several times to understand, but hear it from our purest words. You don't need saving from anybody external from yourself. You can hold enough love and light in your vibration because you are the universe. You are made up of the galaxies and the stars. Every cell in your body is listening to your command and your demands. They are listening to take action. They are in co-creation and in service of you. They are honored. Your blood is of honor to be with you in your body, co-creating with you in this existence. Your hair is in service of you. Your family are in service and co-creation of each other. Your soul collective, your soul tribe is here on a mission to elevate vibration and for your greatest expansion. If you could just see the beauty and the love that's in that, and if you can stand in your own light and in your own vibration and know that you are the creator, you are the divinity, you are the divine specimen, you are the source. Take that as an honor. Walk with that. Make decisions with that energy. Be the light. Be the miracle. There cannot be any density in those words. There cannot be any density in that timeline. Bring the humility back to humanity. Be that example for yourself, because you will only mirror and reflect the same behavior. So the beings that are of high vibrational energy will come into contact with the planet at the right vibrational light. That's why there is not really a timeline on it. We keep saying that there is a timeline of 2028, for example, because that's the trajectory of the planet in the pace that it's running at now. But the collective need to keep that pace. There's many people that woke up 5D and forgot their life. They've forgotten memories of their childhood. They've forgotten, it's a wiped clean. And that's like being reborn with the forgetful veil. And they chose to do that so that they can assist in the ascension of the planet. Just like whales and dolphins beach themselves because they know that that is for the greatest good and expansion of the planet. It's an honor. It's the humility back in humanity to be able to be of such a level of service. along with the shattering glass and along with the exposure will come a lot of exposure on stories of the people that were in the stories books of your religious people. For example, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, Muhammad, Buddha. These stories of who they were and what they did has been manipulated. Fair to say everybody can understand that at this point. But their real, authentic stories, the real energy of who they are, will come out more and more and more. And this will shatter more and more beliefs, especially about the divine masculine place and the divine feminine place, and how both are equally important for creation. You cannot co create or procreate without the divine masculine and divine feminine. And how that is manifest on your planet now is of value, of status, of working or staying home or bearing children or not bearing children or whatever that is still a survival energy. It's a victimhood energy. But the divine feminine, which is definitely on the rise on your planet now because it was forced to be, there was no other option but for it to, and time, divine timing, of course, in the timeline of things. But the divine masculine cannot be left in the shadow. It needs to be of proportional co-creation, and it's spiral like this. It's not divine feminine, divine masculine. It's spiraling each other because with one comes another. It's the A and the B. It's the alpha and the omega. It's the prime example of co-creation, and the whole color spectrum of the blue and the pink, which together is purple, which is unity and divinity. So there's so many misunderstood stories or mistruths or manipulation that has really separated and divided the energies to be what it is now. We are not referring to the embodiment of what you are as a human. We're talking about energy, which means in your energy, you must have the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine in order to be able to co-create and to be in your own divinity. So it's not about you and a partner, and it's not about your sexual preferences. It's about co-creation and balance within the one, which is you, the one vessel, the one creation. And this is something that will be kind of next on the radar in the spiritual community. It'll all be about, just like as meditation is so popular and transcendental states is so kind of popular now, the next thing will be the balancing of energies and doing certain techniques to be able to awaken those energies within you. So whatever stories come out, believe what you feel is relevant to you and see what it triggers in you. And then what do you do next? That's the moral of our channel today.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's so needs to be said, and we can kind of feel that's where people are as well, Catherine and I. So very thankful for this message today.
It's a pleasure. With love and light.